Hi, Christopher. Um, so as far as the questionnaire goes for the peer review, I think the introduction was done very well. I think you introduce an aspect of grief and memory in an interesting manner that kind of grabs the attention, and then you lead into this thesis statement on your stance on Salise's work, and start with that. And then my impression, I really enjoyed what you had to say. I think that there was a lot of explanation of grief and how people can overcome, and the process and the things people can do. Um, but I think that perhaps throughout, maybe referencing back to that original argument stance would have been better, or at least overtly expressing that this is how you're combating the stance or supporting it or whatever position that you're continuing on, as far as your paragraphs, because you go into a lot of analysis on grief and explanation, and the sources do a lot to speak about it, but I'm not just sure how they're relevant necessarily to what your thesis stance was. That would be my biggest critique. Um, it was I again, for the essay to be persuasive, I'm not sure if it was persuasive because I got the argument and I really liked what you had to say and I thought it meant a lot and it was really thought provoking. But I don't know if what you were saying was for this sense of persuasion for your stance, if you get what I mean. Like, I didn't have a lot of because you go to say he claims that memories are only disruptive in the process of grief. Some may argue those recollections could also be enormously useful. I guess, yeah, because you do have things that support your idea that they could be useful. But I would just overtly say, this, he says this is what this says. Because your things support it, but I would just make reference back to that original statement to show that these do, right? Um, just so it's more clear because they do support it. It just I think needs to be more clear. Um, as far as confusing sections, I don't think I found anything confusing. There was in some of the areas where you introduce some of the sources, I think you go and have very long sentences upon the introduction of them that I don't think maybe necessarily that to be that long for you to introduce the source, but I think that'd be the only part I found a little confusing, just because they were so word heavy as far as introducing just what the source was. But overall, I think it was good use of sources. And my favorite aspect, I think, is just the actual thought put into this. I think you have some very good points here, and they really are persuasive for what I think your attention is in saying. Um, and that has to be my favorite. It's very thought provoking. And the use of sources do support it. I think you have some great use of sources, so that really illustrate how effective some of these strategies or how some of these coping mechanisms can or can't help with grief, the grieving process, and just how it relates to us. Um, and overall, I like it. I just think, yeah, it is how these just directly stating, I think, again, throughout a little bit, how exactly your paragraphs and points are counteracting what you think Celeste was saying. But yeah, thank you.